Welcome to another new episode of the Get Organised with Decluttr Me podcast with myself, Shelina. I hope you're well wherever you are in the world. Whether this is the first time you're listening or you've been following for a while, I am so happy you're here. Thank you so much for being part of the journey. It truly means so much to me. Your support allows me to continue sharing my love for decluttering and organising every week, and it's a privilege to help you create a more organised and clutter-free space. So if you're enjoying this podcast, I'd love for you to spread the word. Just hit follow, subscribe, or like on your podcast app. Share it with your friends and drop me a review to let me know what you think. Today is a celebration, so if you could leave a review for the 300th episode, that would be amazing. Yeah, I said 300th episode. I can't believe it. We're here. Episode 300. It's been an incredible journey since 2018, and I'm thrilled that so many of you have joined me along the way. From sharing small organising tricks to complete overhauls. We've covered so much, and I'm incredibly grateful for each and every one of you who tunes in, takes on these tips, and lets me know how they've helped you. So for this milestone episode, I thought it would be fitting to revisit some of my absolute favourite organising tips that I've shared over the years. The ones I believe that will make the biggest difference. These are the practical tips I've refined, used myself, and worked with clients, and it's made miracles for the clients. They embody what I like to call the can you find it in 5 seconds method. Because when things are organised, you should be able to find them almost instantly. Am I right? So grab a cuppa, settle in, and whatever you're doing, let's dive into these tips. So let's start with the mini declutter. Now, I love a big clear out as much as the next person, but there's a lot of pressure that comes with that. With the mini declutter, I'm talking about little pockets of time. So 5, 10, 15 minutes, taking one drawer, one shelf, or even just one handbag. Go through it quickly, get rid of anything you don't need, and give the rest a tidy up. People often get overwhelmed by thinking they need to dedicate hours and hours to decluttering. Instead, if you get into the habit of doing mini declutters throughout the week, you'll start to see a shift without feeling like you've taken on a massive chore. Think about it. If you do a quick declutter every day for a week, that's 7 spaces sorted with barely any effort. So whenever you feel overwhelmed, just remind yourself, do a mini declutter. Next, I want to talk about zoning in the kitchen. Now, I love zoning in the kitchen, and it's one of the most requested tips as well about, when organising kitchens with clients. So for me, it's all about setting up zones. I think the kitchen is one of the busiest and most chaotic spaces in any home. But with the right layout, it can go from stressful to serene. The idea here is to create different zones for different activities. Cooking, baking, meal prep, coffee, snacks, and so on. So for example, if you drink tea and coffee every day, set up a tea and coffee station, which I love doing. I love doing these tea and coffee stations. So you have everything near the kettle with the mugs, the tea, sugar, honey. I'm having honey with my tea right now all the time, which is great because I feel like I'm losing weight with it. I digress. And everything else you need for your tea or coffee. And if you have those fancy coffee machines, you can have them there as well. The key is that there's no back and forth, no fumbling around for things. It's all there ready for you. When you organise with zones, you're essentially setting up the kitchen to function more intuitively. Everything has its place and each zone has a purpose. It saves you time and reduces the mental load of remembering where everything is. If you can implement zones in the kitchen, it's a game changer. Plus, you'll then be able to find everything in 5 seconds moving forward. Next up is the FAT rule, which I think is genius, if I do say so myself. FAT stands for file, act, toss, and it's a brilliant way to deal with all the paperwork or emails or just anything. So here's how it works. When you come across a piece of paper, an email, or a document, you should immediately decide what to do with it. Does it need to be filed? Do you need to act on it? And will it take less than 5 minutes to act on it? Or do you need to toss it? So think about something like a bill or a form. Is it something you need to act on, or is it just rubbish you can toss? This is a rule to help you make quick decisions. Rather than creating a never-ending pile of paperwork that you'll get to, and then it'll take like minutes or hours to do. This is taking immediate action. And for me, applying the FAT rule has been essential in keeping both my home and my business paperwork under control. Remember, clutter loves indecision. The more you delay, the more the paper piles up. And so start using the FAT rule and keep your space, your mind, everything clear. Next, let's talk about the buy one, get rid of two. That's a rule that some people find hard to hear at first, but trust me, it's brilliant. Whenever you buy something new, whether it's clothing, tech, home decor, you commit to getting rid of two similar items. Let's say you buy a new shirt. To keep your wardrobe in check, you remove two others. It keeps clutter at bay and helps you evaluate what you truly value in your collection. It's such an eye-opener because it forces you to look at what you already have and realize how much of it you're actually using. This rule isn't about decluttering either. It's about conscious consumption. So you're thinking twice before bringing something new into your space, which makes every item feel a bit more special. And another trick that I often coincide with the buy one, get rid of two rule is to have like a paper bag or a basket in your living room or your closet. And then every time you find something that you don't like, don't use, don't want, put it into that bag. And when it's full, go give it for a donation. So that's an easy way to cover the buy one, get rid of two without even thinking about it because you're doing it constantly, like putting things into the bag. Now, talking about getting the things out of the house, this is my last favorite tip, the 90% syndrome. This is when you've done the decluttering, which is the 90% part, and then you leave the bags of decluttered items in a random place or in a spare bedroom, and it just stands there. You just leave it, it doesn't move. To clear your decluttering journey, you need to get that 10% out of your life and into a charity box, a charity shop, Goodwill, shelter, somewhere. It has to get away, or you need to go put it in recycling. You'll feel so much lighter once the clutter has gone fully out of your house, not just in the closets or the cupboards. And this last 10% languishing in the house is a big thing for a lot of people, especially when they don't have cars. Now, if you have a car, put that 10%, the decluttered pile straight into the car so that you know that next time you're like down the high street or near a bin, you can go put it into the charity bin. And so that's a great way to cover the 90% syndrome. So those are my top tips that I swear by and that have truly stood the test of time while I've been doing this business for over 11 years. As I look back on these 300 episodes, I'm so grateful for the journey we've taken together. I started Get Organised with Decluttr Me to share my passion for organising, but it's evolved into a beautiful community of like-minded people. I want to thank each and every one of you who's been part of this journey. Whether you've been here since episode 1 or just joined, I really do appreciate you. Thank you for letting me share my advice, for sending in your questions, and for letting me know when a tip has made a difference in your life. Organising isn't about perfection. It's about creating a space that works for you and brings a sense of calm and control. It's about building a system that helps you find everything in 5 seconds or less, and that will make your life a little bit easier. If you haven't already, please subscribe, leave a review, or share this episode with anyone who might benefit from a bit of organising inspiration. And as always, you can find more tips and ideas on my website at the website link down there, and also on Instagram, which is also down there as well, at DECLUTTRME. Here's to many more episodes of Get Organised with Decluttr Me, and to keeping our spaces clutter-free and our minds a bit more peaceful and zen. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll talk to you next episode. Take care. Bye.